the kingdom of heaven on earth. This was Jesus' passion. When everyone refers to the passion of Jesus, they always think of the last week of his ministry. In fact, we call it the Passion Week. But Jesus' passion was not for the cross. Jesus' passion was for the kingdom of heaven on earth. This is what everyone had been waiting for. This is what they were desiring. And you have to know that Jesus' teaching on the kingdom of heaven is still to this day greatly criticized, saying that it's impractical, that this was a dream of an idealist, these teachings. There were a lot of negative, critical comments on Jesus' teaching on the kingdom of heaven on earth. But he was the Messiah and is the Messiah, the Anointed One. We are used to the Greek terminology, Christ. I like to use the term Anointed One, or Mashiach, which is Aramaic, which is the Messiah, the Anointed One. And the Anointed One was supposed to bring something. Before I go into the kingdom of heaven on earth, and that's what his teaching was all about, by the way, his heaven on earth. His teaching was never meant to prepare us for a life after death. His teachings are and were meant to teach us how to live in heaven while we're on earth. So you don't have to worry about the death process. It's to bring heaven here. First of all, it's the kingdom of heaven. But before I get into all of that, first I want to read you some good criticism on the teachings of Jesus, and that is from someone we're almost all of us are familiar with. His name was Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma, you know, means a great soul. So we're talking about Gandhi. And I'm going to give you a quote from Gandhi. Gandhi says, "The message of Jesus," that is, Jesus' gospel, as I understand it, is contained in the Sermon on the Mount. Now, what did he mean by the Sermon on the Mount? He's referring to the Gospel of Matthew, the 5th chapter, the 6th chapter, and the 7th chapter. The first Gospel in the New Testament is called Matthew, and it's the 5th chapter, and 6 and 7. People have called that, scholars have named it, the Sermon on the Mount. Dr. Lamsa never named it the Sermon on the Mount. He named it the Constitution of the Kingdom of Heaven. Some of them name it the Messianic Torah. That is, the Torah according to Jesus. I always call it the principles of the kingdom of heaven on earth. So different people call it by different things, but you must know what we are referring to where his teachings are recorded, Matthew 5, 6, and 7. So Gandhi says that he believed that the message of Jesus is contained in Matthew 5, 6, and 7. And he says, it is that sermon, which, by the way, was never a sermon, it is that sermon which has endeared Jesus to me. This is what Gandhi says. The message, to my mind, however, has suffered distortion in the West. Much of what passes as Christianity is a negation of Matthew 5, 6, and 7, or as he calls it, the Sermon on the Mount. That was Gandhi. I'm going to read that again to you because it's important. I'll read the whole thing and listen carefully. The message of Jesus, as I understand it, is contained in the Sermon on the Mount. It is that sermon which has endeared Jesus to me. The message, to my mind, has suffered distortion in the West. Much of what passes as Christianity is a negation of the Sermon on the Mount.